Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I just got my 7-year-old out of my hair. He is doing a camp today. Sometimes what I've learned is in the summertime it becomes very difficult because you don't realize how if you work for yourself and you work from your home, you don't realize how quiet it is during the school year when you have kids, until summer comes, and then you realize that you're listening to these kids, and when my wife and I had our children, we thought, okay, because we have a 13-year-old and we have a 7-year-old, and we thought they would be far enough apart so that we would not be dealing with fighting all the time. Well, I got news for you. I don't care if there's 10 years separation between your kids. There's something about brothers and sisters, they are going to fight, and boy, do mine fight. And I have to lose my temper in the summertime. Like my temper loss goes up by I think 100%, because they just can't be in the same room together for any period of time without getting into it. So anyway, enough of that. This is from Jaquito McPhee. At Jaquito McPhee sent me this. Start payments. We are super pumped to have successfully tested XRP in our blockchain platform, in our blockchain platform. Now system integrators and merchants around the world can accept XRP for their business. Boom. Every time we see a new company take XRP on, we have to show it to you. Okay. This is from X-Men XRP at XRP33. Now this is good stuff right here, folks. Cash and gold facing extinction as new investors go digital, says crypto king Barry Silbert. This was a couple of lines from Barry Silbert. Let me see where he was being interviewed. Let's see. In a new podcast episode of Inside the Ice House produced by Intercontinental Exchange, Josh King interviews Barry Silbert. Okay, it's clear. This is from Barry Silbert. It's clear that money is going digital, and it's clear that in the future, physical cash is going to go away. And it's also clear based on history that fiat currency tends to not exist into perpetuity. The average life of fiat currency over the past 500 years is 27 years. So what that means is, on average, in 27 years, a government will destroy their currency or devalue their currency, typically through debasement or through war. And then he went on. It's clear that something other than the local fiat currency would have real demand and real appeal. Now, this is what's interesting to me. He is so right here. As for people in countries like the U.S., Silbert says there are 5 phases of Bitcoin acceptance, and I would say of crypto acceptance. Phase 1, they're dismissive. That's silly. It's a Ponzi scheme. It's rat poison. Phase 2, they're skeptical. It's not going to work. Phase 3, intellectually curious. They're asking questions like, why is Elon Musk excited about this? Why is Jack Dorsey excited about this? Phase 4, a believer. Write the check and invest. Phase 5, an evangelist, spreading the news about Bitcoin and why, if successful, it will be amazing for society. I believe that we are between Phase 4. Actually, I think that we're really just now entering Phase 4, which is the write the check, the believer stage, the write the check and invest. And then I think we're also seeing some of the evangelists. You're beginning to see the CNBC people that have laughed at crypto all this time. They're starting not to laugh anymore. Then Silbert went on. I think what many gold investors don't seem to appreciate is that the next generation of investors, the next generation of asset allocators, do not view gold the same way that our parents or grandparents did. Over the next couple of decades, there's an estimated $68 trillion of wealth that's going to be handed down. That's just in the U.S. That $68 trillion is going to be handed down from baby boomers to Gen X and Gen Y and millennials. I'm absolutely convinced that whatever of that 68 trillion is currently in gold, it's not going to stay in gold. I'm not saying it's going to Bitcoin, but I know it's not going to stay in gold. So if gold stops performing the way gold investors think it should in periods of high inflation or macroeconomic dislocation, I think it's game over. I think the next generation of investors are going to put their money elsewhere. Now, I agree with him that a lot of money is going to flow from gold into crypto assets, Bitcoin, and otherwise. What I don't agree with is that gold or silver is going anywhere. I think that gold is God's money, as they say, and I believe that gold and silver and precious metals will also will always have an important place in the world. They've been around since biblical times, and I don't think they're going anywhere. Now, I do think that digital assets are going to steal a lot of gold and silver shine in the short to mid run. And in the long run, I think digital assets that have use case will do that. XRP. Okay, next, Sergeant Obi-Wan at Sergeant Obi-Wan sent me this. I'm not going to go deep into it. I just want to make the point. Yoshitaka Katao tweeted this out. Japanese Parliament wants Tokyo to cut crypto tax. I want to make this point. When any of these governments start doing tax benefits for crypto, watch things boom, folks, because that you want something that's a bullish signal. Get a favorable tax treatment for cryptos in any country. Next, from Brian N at BN Bozo, heads up, Fed Chair Powell to deliver a speech tomorrow. Now his speech, you can go and find out when the speech is, and they haven't said that he's specifically going to talk about digital currency or anything like that. But the fact that now when he speaks, that people assume that he's going to talk about digital assets is a big deal. Okay, what is going on with my mouse? Okay, here we go. Next, from Go Crypto. I got a couple DMs asking where this was from. Now, I covered this yesterday. I don't know if I covered his tweet. I can't remember. But yesterday I talked about this. It was Trump talking about, it was a video of Trump talking about how he invests when the markets are down, and that's how the money's made. And we were making that point yesterday, but I didn't tell you where it was from because I didn't know. They brought it to my attention. It's from the men who built America. I had forgotten that. My mouse is trying to act funny here, but it's from the men who built America. Go and watch it. You can watch the men who built America on YouTube. I highly recommend it. Next, from Jonathan D at XRP _YD7. I don't know what's going haywire with my mouse here, folks. Okay, he gave me this, and this is from SBI VC Trade. Notice of temporary suspension of, I'm trying to get this mouse out of your way so it doesn't drive you crazy. But he sent this about notice of temporary suspension of VC Trade due to system maintenance. Now, I don't understand here it says maintenance scheduled July 20th, 2019, but this announcement is on 7/16, so I don't know if they're announcing a suspension now, and then also here's our maintenance schedule also for July 20th, or if they're saying July 20th, they're going to be down for maintenance. But all of this has to do with what we've been talking about, which is that SBI is supposed to go live sometime soon. Okay, and next from Michael B. My, how things have changed. To me, the 90s seem like yesterday. I'm certainly not fretting over a few years. Time flies, and so will XRP. What he's showing here is from the History Lovers Club, and this is what we used to deal with when we had a dial-up connection and we were downloading or uploading things. Is we would see this bar go across, and in this case, it's funny because it says, "Yes, this is going to download in 39 years." That's the kind of slow we were dealing with back then. But it illustrates the point with digital assets. Right now, people, this is so young, we're so early in this that people are, they throw all of these different criticisms at things involving crypto right now, and they're not realizing just how early we are. Of course, you have certain things that go on when things are new. The same type of thing was going on when the internet came about. The same type of scare tactics by people that didn't understand the internet, where they were throwing out the same type of things before. And one of them, I'll give you just an example of one of the things that parallels what we're dealing with now. Back when the internet first started, the media was saying things like, who would ever trust the internet to go and order things and buy things on? Who's going to put their credit card into something and pay for something on the internet? Because the internet has hackers and bad guys and all of this. That's what they used to say. The same way they're talking about digital assets now, it was the same type thing for you young people out there. History repeats itself over and over, and the prize goes to those of us that can ignore all of the BS and see through it to see the truth. And if digital assets are anything, they represent truth and a good thing that's coming. All right, next from Where's Bob at Bob and Deep XRP sent this. This is big time too, folks. And I wanted to read not the article, but read the last paragraph. This is about the Fed. If anybody has been listening to my channel for any period of time, you know that I have told you for a long time that digital assets are a response to what these central banks and banks have done to destroy fiat over the years and run up all of these debts. That's the gist of what this article is about. Fed must radically change or become irrelevant. I want to read you the paragraph, one of the paragraphs down here, and tell me if you think you've ever heard anything like this on my channel. Deficits of national governments will fly out of control over the next few decades to pay for underfunded Social Security insurance pensions, the demands of displaced blue-collar workers for lower taxes, free college, health care, and guaranteed incomes for those who refuse to work, and mitigation to defend coastlines and farms from rising sea levels, temperatures, and drought through seawalls, CO2 recapture and irrigation. The Fed and central banks throughout the world will be compelled to purchase huge sums of government bonds by issuing fiat money. Only fools, and listen to this sentence good, folks, only fools will have the confidence that anyone really controls the supply of fiat money and in the security of government bonds denominated in those currencies. Bonds, you want to talk about a Ponzi scheme, fiat and government bonds. Now there's a Ponzi scheme. That's the Ponzi scheme of Ponzi schemes, folks. And that is where people who hold digital assets will benefit, because at some point that's all going to collapse, period. It's all going to collapse. And that is what this is all about, folks. Next from Chinu Patel at Chinu Patel 29 sent me this from Bob Bender. I remember when I've been to Europe a few times. Will this even be necessary in 5 years? He's got a picture of a currency exchange. When you get off a plane and you leave the United States to go to London or whatever, first thing you do is you get off and you exchange your US dollars for their currency, and there's an exchange rate and the whole thing. This is not going to be the way it's done in the future. You're going to have your phone, and that's all you're going to need. And all of these are going to be, all of this is going to be happening through DLT. It's going to happen through the Interledger Protocol, in my opinion, which Ripple invented. And there won't be any going to a currency exchange. Okay, Chinu Patel also sent me this, and I think this is the ultimate sentiment that came out of the Treasury Secretary speaking yesterday. Last night I went to bed planning on waking up today and buying a couple of different altcoins I've had my eye on lately, wanting to diversify some more. Well, today's press conference changed all that. I'm more bullish for XRP than ever now, and threw that cash into the one and only. And you did the right thing, XRP junkie, because that's exactly what I heard when the Treasury Secretary spoke. Okay, let's see if we can. Now, finally, from Tim Copeland, if he says, meantime, now if this is not a good picture, I don't know what is. This will be my thumbnail for this video. You got Steve Mnuchin holding up a sheet of dollars. And I will be putting XRP right in the middle of this picture, because that is a great photo that needs to be my thumbnail for this. I am the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button and tell your friends that that sheet that you're looking at, that printed sheet of money, summarizes everything that I've talked about on this channel for the last year, and it should tell you everything you need to know. Thanks for listening.